Hello and welcome to My Gospel Music. I'm Bill Traylor and I have a very special guest with me today that I know you will enjoy. Mr. Eddie Crook, producer, performer, and businessman extraordinaire. Eddie Crook will be with me right after this, so stay tuned for My Gospel Music and Eddie Crook. Hello and welcome to My Gospel Music. My good friend Eddie Crook is here. Eddie, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Bill, it's a pleasure.
You know, we've been knowing each other for a long time. I don't even know how long, maybe 30 years?
Probably so.
And I want to visit and know about you because you have an extended career. You started off as a performer with who?
Well, I started playing the piano with a singing group in high school.
Well,
A classmate introduced me to gospel music at the Wally Fowler All Night Singing at the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville.
I remember Wally.
And that was my first exposure to gospel music.
Yeah.
Of course, I kind of fell in love with it, I guess, and I went home and I started boom chinking on the piano.
Yeah.
And
well, let me ask you a question about that. Was that the point in time when you felt like that was going to be a career for you, at least in the short term?
well, I wasn't sure it was going to be a career, but I sure liked it. And
Yeah.
we had this high school quartet, so I played piano with them, and,
Right.
and we did some things around. And then graduated from college, from high school, and went to college at Tennessee Tech in Cookeville, Tennessee. And
What'd you major in?
well, it's really weird. It was like pre-pharmacy.
Oh, really?
I mean, how strange is that? You would have thought it'd been music, right?
Yeah.
But I was a little afraid of the music because I played by ear a lot and
Right.
didn't read real well
Right.
at the time, and I was kind of afraid of it. But
Yeah.
anyway, long story short, I dropped out of Tennessee Tech. I dropped out of college,
Right.
and a guy there, he was in college. He was a junior. I was a freshman. They had a quartet called the Tennesseans.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And people
Elmer
think
Cole.
about, well, this predates that.
Oh, predates Elmer Cole.
Yeah,
really?
this is the original Tennesseans.
Wow.
And he dropped out of college, I dropped out, and we made a go of it with the Tennesseans Quartet.
Yeah.
And that was my first semi-professional, I guess, or
Yeah.
professional, because at the time that's the only income I had. We made
Right.
maybe about $30, $40 a week.
You were the keyboard player, you had a quartet.
That's right.
That was it.
Called the Tennesseans,
Five of them.
and a guy named Noel Fox was
Oh,
the
yeah.
bass singer, and he later
Sure.
sung with the Oak Ridge Boys.
Yeah.
And a guy named Dale Shellnut who sung with it. He sung lead, and a guy named Wally Laxton sung tenor.
Wow.
And anyway, that
Well,
went
Dale Shellnut, just so people know, that's the Dixie Melody Boys.
Dixie Echoes.
Dixie Echoes.
That's
Sorry.
right. Dixie Echoes. But that lasted for a little while, but kind of got raided. Noel Fox left and went with the Harvesters Quartet in Charlotte, North Carolina. The group broke up. I had opportunity to play with three groups, had job offers. One was with the Couriers Quartet in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, those guys were great.
They still are good friends. I didn't go. Had an opportunity to go with the Stamps Quartet in Memphis.
Yeah, J.D. Sumner.
Didn't go.
Yeah.
It's kind of a trivia thing there. If I'd gone with him, I'd have played with Elvis.
That's right.
But I did not.
Yeah.
So I went with Jimmy Davis, the governor of Louisiana,
Sure, yeah.
and his backup group called the Plainsmen. So moved to Baton Rouge. We did 3 years down there with Jimmy Davis, the governor, and the Plainsmen Quartet. That ran its course for me. They moved from Baton Rouge to Wichita, Kansas, and there was a guy out there named Max Sanders that owned a bunch of radio stations and Airplane and whatnot, so he kind of wooed them out there. And so I didn't want to go to Wichita, so one evening we were playing a date in Oklahoma, I believe, with Marty Robbins.
Yeah. Wow.
We used to play these country shows too, besides gospel, and the guy came backstage there and asked me if I'd be interested in playing piano with the Marty Robbins band, because they did not have a piano player.
Yeah.
So I said, when do I start? So that got me back to Nashville.
That'd be a good gig.
That got me back to Nashville.
Yeah. Wow.
And but here again, that was temporary thing. I played with him for about a year.
Yeah.
But all the time I was with him, I think God was knocking on my door, my heart, you know, for gospel music. It worked out. I played a few recording sessions in Nashville, and then somehow the position came open to play piano with the Siegel brothers and Naomi.
I've seen clips of that.
And so
You had black hair.
That's right. There was opportunity to get back in gospel music.
Right.
So I went with the Siegel brothers and Naomi. They lived in the Nashville area, a little place called White House outside of Nashville, and stayed with them for about 3 years. And James Siegel, he would bring some singing groups in, part-time groups to record, and I would play piano, and some of the Nashville players would
So
be
you got
playing
into
on.
recording.
I
at
got into
point.
that a little bit, and so that ran its course, and then I decided I was going to be a session player.
Yeah.
So I was just going to be a piano player to play on recordings.
Yeah.
So that I played on a few, and but the phone didn't ring a whole lot. So, but anyway, that's what led. We were recording at RCA, the Happy Goodman family. We were recording there, and they used.
Is that where you met them?
Well, I had met them on the road playing with the Siegel brothers and Naomi. We played dates together.
Right.
So we did meet, but when I was not playing with them, I was playing recordings. They asked me to play piano on their recordings.
Right.
I mean, it was either me or little David Young. I don't know if you ever heard of him or not,
No.
but that's another story, I guess. But anyway, I played on a couple of their albums just as a session pianist, and they liked my playing, I guess. And just a little bit after that, the Goodmans, they built a recording studio.
I remember that. Yeah.
In Madisonville, Kentucky.
Remember that. Yeah.
And of course, the Happy Goodman family were real popular, and a lot of people wanted to record up there at the Goodman studio.
I remember that was back in the early 70s.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And so I would go up there and play on recordings and drive back. It was 100 miles from Nashville to Madisonville. So we'd drive back and forth playing recordings. And I mean, lots of groups. I mean, even the Cathedral Quartet recorded in Madisonville at the Goodman studio. A lot of people don't know that, but one of their albums was called The Last Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Was that done at Madisonville?
That was done at the Goodman
you were the
studio,
piano
and I
player?
played the piano on it.
Really?
That's correct.
Haskell Cooley, I think, was playing for them.
I think so.
And I what I want to do right now is we have a song of you playing with the Goodmans because they offered for you to go on the road with them, right?
That's correct.
I want us to go to that song, and we're going to come back and chat about it. Is
All
that
right.
all right?
Sounds good.
All right, folks, here's Eddie Crook with the Happy Goodman family. What, 1970 something?
72.
72. Here it is.
I will meet you in the morning, just inside the eastern gate. Then be ready, faithful pilgrim, lest with you it be too
Hey, we're back here on My Gospel Music, and my very special guest, Mr. Eddie Crook. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of stuff about you that I didn't know in that first segment.
Well, there's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff. You played with the Happy Goodmans. You worked at their studio, but you also went on the road with them. Can you? And we just had a clip of you performing with them.
Yeah, that started out as kind of Vestal got sick one day. I mean, Howard stayed home with her. They said, "Would you go fill in?"
Yeah.
So I went and filled in for Howard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how do you fill in for Howard?
You have to learn how to do your hand like that.
I mean,
right?
this here, that wasn't me. But anyway, I filled in several times.
Yeah.
And
As this vocalist as well?
No. I just played the piano.
Oh, okay.
They had some other, I mean, their daughter, Vicky, sung with them.
Right.
And so personnel-wise, they did okay. But anyway, that was the beginning. They got used to my piano playing,
Yeah.
and it just kind of migrated into full-time,
Yeah.
and then they added some other some more musicians. So that kind of started that way. But yeah, I played piano with them for a total of 10 years.
Wow. Wow. And we have another clip I want to play that is part of your time with the Goodmans, and it's the band, right?
Yeah, the Happy Goodman Family Band.
Do you know who's in this?
I do. The guy playing the drums was Ricky Goodman. That's
Oh, sure.
Howard and Vestal's son.
Right.
A guy named Jimmy Dumas. They nicknamed him Duke.
Yeah.
Dumas. He played with the
I remember
Stamps
him.
before he came with the Goodmans.
Yeah.
He played the guitar. A guy named Larry Strelecki.
Yeah.
Strelecki. We call him the Pole for obvious reasons. He played the bass.
Yeah.
And a guy named Jack Smith played the steel guitar,
Right.
who unfortunately passed away not too long ago. And a guy named Aaron Wilburn
Sure.
that people might remember
Yeah.
or know as a comedian,
Yeah.
Christian comedian,
Talented guy.
and a songwriter. But he played acoustic guitar with us.
Yeah.
And so that was the band.
So that's who we're going to see now.
That's what's on this
And
clip.
you guys had a rip-roaring time out there, I'm sure.
Oh, we did. Yeah, it was, in those days, it was kind of go for it, you
Yeah.
know. I mean, it was all live musicians. Either you had a live big band or you had a couple of players or three
Right.
players. But we had a pretty good sized band for the time
Yeah.
that it was. And they were all good recording musicians. They all
Right.
played well. We all played in tune. The biggest compliment we ever got was at a concert at an auditorium like Fort Worth or Atlanta or somewhere.
Yeah.
People would comment and said, "You guys sound like a record." And that was a compliment to
Well,
us.
it is.
That was a compliment to us because
yeah.
we always accompanied and
Yeah.
played it down to make the singer sound good.
That's great.
And then they would let us play every once in a while.
And that's what we're going to experience right now. Here's Eddie Crook with the Happy Goodman Band and all those guys he mentioned right now here on My Gospel Music.
I wouldn't take nothing for my journey now.
Welcome back to My Gospel Music. I'm here with my good friend Eddie Crook. And Eddie, we're going to talk about your producing because there's a lot of groups that are functioning right now that got their start with you. Some of them I'm thinking of, the McCameys, the Crabb family, the Bishops, many others. They may have been doing something prior to coming to you, but after you got hold of them, they became nationally known. And you did this for a long time. You and Jan just operated the Eddie Crook Company and did such a beautiful job with that. Tell us about that.
Well, after all the recording we did at the Goodmans studio,
Right.
I kind of started recording on my own.
Right.
I remember doing my first recording at the Goodman studio where it was me doing it.
Yeah. Do you remember who it was?
It was a group called the Singing Christians
Oh, yeah, sure.
from Tenaha, Texas.
I remember that.
That's the first group.
They were a couple of brothers, I think, and a dad.
So anyway, it started that way, and then I came to Nashville and started recording at a place called Woodland Studios.
Sure.
And I was going back and forth and still playing the piano.
Yeah.
And I was keeping up American Airlines, flying from date. We finish up in Oklahoma City,
Right.
get
Off
back
you
to
go.
Nashville
Off
to
you
do
go.
a recording on Monday. So we did that for a while, and then finally decided,
Jan didn't get to see you much, did she?
well, it was busy time.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we decided to do was leave the Goodmans and just go into the recording full time.
Right.
So we started, and we just jumped in, and didn't know what we were doing exactly, but we started, and one thing led to another, and we recorded a lot of groups that were, knew me from the Goodman days,
Right.
and so they called me, and I do their album for them. And then you're talking about the McCameys.
Right.
That's sort of a unique situation because I had never met the McCameys. I didn't know them at all.
Right.
And I knew some friends that we went to church with and acquaintances in the Nashville area that told us that, you ever heard of the McCameys? No. Well, they're really good. We're going to go see them Sunday or next week. And I said, well, where are they going? Oh, they're about 90 miles from here. I said, you got to be kidding. You're driving 90 miles to go see a group? Oh, yeah.
That's a
people do
good
that.
sign.
So that was kind of got my attention.
Right.
So long story short, we finally invited the McCameys to come down to our house.
Right.
And we visited, and for some reason, I signed them to a recording contract,
Right.
my nickel.
Wow.
And we,
Lots of nickels.
well, yeah, I'm just saying, I paid for it.
Right,
And
right. Well, you believed in
it
them.
was, yeah, I don't know why, because I hadn't even heard them sing yet.
Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, that's how that started.
Yeah.
And with McCameys, we had some success with them. God blessed that effort. We had a group called the Perrys
Sure.
that we saw them, grow. And
The Isaacs.
The Isaacs. The Isaacs was, it was called Joe Isaacs and the Sacred Bluegrass.
Really?
They were from Ohio.
Yeah. Really?
And I talked to them. I always believed in them when I
Right.
heard them sing. And I signed them to a recording contract, but I said, we need to change your name.
Yeah.
This Sacred Bluegrass is probably not as, marketable
Right.
as it could be. So they agreed, and they changed their name to the Isaacs.
Right.
And it was very successful.
And they're successful today.
And
But they got their start with you, though.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And
The Bishops.
the Bishops, the Dixie Melody Boys, the Booth Brothers,
Wow.
the Crabb family. I'll leave out some. I mean,
Yeah. And I'm going to test your memory here. About how many recordings do you think you've produced? Known and unknown. How
probably
many?
1,000.
1,000 recordings. My goodness.
I'm sure.
Wow.
My wife and I, we've discussed lots of times. We wish we'd have kept
Oh,
a
sure.
copy of everything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We'd have
I
had
know
to
that
probably
thought.
got us a warehouse somewhere to put it. But we'd have kept we started, when we started, it was LPs,
Yeah,
long play
sure.
albums, which you're familiar
Oh,
with,
yeah.
the records.
Yeah.
And we go from there to the 8-track tapes, to the cassettes, to
Yeah.
the CDs.
Yeah.
So it would,
And now digital downloads.
Yeah.
And today we're going to take a break, but today you're performing as a pianist. I know you do what you want to do now. You're probably still doing some producing occasionally whenever you choose to do it.
Yeah, I still do some recording. I still enjoy it. I mean, it's fun
Yeah.
because and I get to get some musicians in, old friends, you know, to play with
Sure,
me, and
sure.
it's a lot of fun. And I do get to play the piano.
Yeah.
Kind of strange. It kind of started out being a piano player and ending up being a piano player, you know. But it's a lot of fun. And
Well, I know it is, and I've known you for a long time, have a lot of respect for you. Whenever you stood up and spoke, people listened, and a lot of artists listened, and they've got careers today because of your and Jan's input.
well, we're
into their
proud
careers.
that a lot of singing groups are still going
Oh,
and
yeah.
having an
You
impact
bet.
that come through our doors at one time or another.
Well, it all started with the talent of you at the piano. And folks, we're going to take a break. We're going to be right back, and we're going to close out this visit with Eddie Crook, with him at the keyboard. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Each day I'll do, a golden deed, by helping those who are in need. My life on earth is but a span, and so I'll do the best I can. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deed that I have done, where there will be no setting sun. Life's evening sun is sinking low. A few more days, and I must go to meet the deed that I have done, where there will be no setting sun.
We're here at My Gospel Music, and we've had an incredible visit with my good friend Eddie Crook. Eddie, thank you so much. You and
Well,
Jan
thank
came
you.
by, and really appreciate it. We learned a lot. I learned some stuff about you that I didn't know. But we were talking just before we went to break about you and your own piano work that you're doing now. But by the way, do you have a website?
I don't have a website.
But if they want to reach you, people
I'm
want
on
to reach you.
Facebook.
Facebook, just Eddie Crook?
Yeah.
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 And you can remember his face, see it?
Yeah, that's me. That's right. That's right.
We're going to listen to you playing at piano. What you don't have to tell us exactly where you were or anything, but tell us about what's going on with that.
Well, I did a few programs around, and we shot, you know, did video with
Right.
it, and just kept it. And I've got a lot of stuff that's just kind of archived, you know.
Yeah.
I haven't pulled it out much, but and I still play at various functions, and so I think this one that you're going to show might have been done right outside of Nashville in
Yeah.
Franklin, Tennessee,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe. It's
Yeah.
at some church
Yeah.
where they had a lot of people gathered there and
Yeah.
had some other singers and whatnot. So
Wow.
I played a song on, or a couple of songs, and
Yeah.
people seemed to like it.
And at home, do you and Jan ever just sit around and you get on the piano and play?
I play every day.
Yeah.
I guess you call it practice.
You have
but,
to stay up
I don't know
with
if it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's like you learn something every time you play.
Yeah.
You learn something new every time you play,
Yeah.
or at least I do. I mean, some kind of lick or some kind of movement. I mean,
Yeah.
you learn something. And of course, my wife, she's a singer. Sometimes she'll sing a song, I'll
Yeah.
play, and we do stuff together sometimes.
Just make sure you always get in the right key.
Oh, I know her keys.
Well, I want to thank you for being here today, and your career has been just astronomical in gospel music. You've caused a lot of other people to have careers as well. You were the vehicle that helped make that happen.
Well, we were glad to be a part. I think
Yeah.
God put us in a position there at the right time,
Yeah,
and
I do
blessed
too.
our efforts.
I
So,
do too.
but I appreciate what you're doing for gospel
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
all your TV programming.
I love it
and
just
everything.
like you do, you
Yeah.
know, and haven't had the impact that you've had. But
Well.
but the thing is that we all do it for the same reason, and that's to point people toward Christ.
That's right.
And that our music has a value to it and a message to
Absolutely.
it that you don't find anywhere else.
That is correct. Absolutely.
Eddie Crook, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you,
with
Bill.
us today.
Appreciate it.
And we're going to close out now with Eddie at the piano, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Here's Eddie Crook. We'll see you the next time right here on My Gospel Music. See you then.
Thanks for watching My Gospel Music. For more information, go to www.mygospelmusic.tv. While you're there, you can send us an email and let us know any thoughts you may have about the show, or give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. The site also contains information about My Gospel Music's guests and where to find their recordings. All that and more is waiting for you at www.mygospelmusic.tv. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next week.